Oliver Hill and Emily Brandt were 32 and 28. They'd been married for 2 years, living a quiet and ordinary life in a small apartment on the outskirts of London. Oliver was a high school history teacher. Emily, a freelance graphic designer who spent most of her days working from home. Their lives were simple: weekly grocery runs, Friday night movies, small arguments, soft reconciliations. Nothing remarkable. Maybe that was why they both wanted a change. One gray autumn afternoon, as mist rolled low through the streets, Oliver found an online listing. An old stone house on the edge of a small village called Ashcombe. The rent was cheap, the surroundings peaceful, and the photos had a certain strange beauty. Tall chimneys, deep windows, and a soft fog embracing everything. Emily smiled and said, "It looks like something out of an old dream." Oliver laughed. Or maybe a poetic nightmare. They decided to spend 2 months there, just to rest, just to change the scenery. The road to the house wound through wet, silent woods. By the time they arrived, the mist was so thick it seemed the sky had fallen to the ground. The crunch of gravel under the tires sounded distant, swallowed by the fog. Up close, the house was even more beautiful, and somehow unsettling. The windows were tall and warped, the glass slightly tinted, distorting whatever light fell through them. Inside, it smelled of damp wood and something faintly metallic, old, alive, and weary. The floorboards creaked softly beneath their steps. The faded paint on the walls flaked like tired skin. That night, Emily wrote in her sketchbook, "It's beautiful here, but the silence feels wrong." The fog eats sound. On their third night, Emily went to bed early while Oliver stayed downstairs, leafing through old books left on the shelves. Around 11, he heard something, a dragging noise, slow and heavy, coming from upstairs. He called out, "Emily," and climbed the stairs. The bedroom was empty. Only the window stood open, the curtain moving gently in the cold air. When he stepped closer to shut it, he saw muddy footprints on the floor, faint but distinct, leading from the corner of the room to the edge of the bed. His breath caught. "Emily, did you come up here?" No answer, only the faint whisper of wind outside, weaving through the fog. From that night on, the air inside the house began to change. The fog no longer stayed outside. It crept in through the cracks around the windows and the seams of the walls. The rooms were always cold now, even with the fire burning. Emily began to feel watched. Sometimes while cooking or drawing, she'd sense movement at the edge of her vision. But when she turned, there was nothing, only condensation on the window pane, like the ghost of a breath. One night she said, "Do you think someone used to live here and never left?" Oliver smiled, though uneasily. Old houses have old sounds. That's all. But he was hearing things too, whispers from behind the walls, faint and rhythmic, like someone trying to remember words they'd once known. On the 9th day, Emily decided to take photos of the house for a design project. Most looked normal, until one. In the old mirror in the living room, a faint reflection appeared behind her. A face, pale, unclear, watching. When she showed it to Oliver, he said it must be a trick of the light. Still, they carried the mirror down to the basement that night. After that, the basement grew colder, and every time they passed its door, a low sigh seemed to come from the darkness beyond. 3 days later, the fog grew so dense they could barely see the yard. The forest line was gone. Even the path to the road had disappeared. That morning, Oliver went out to fetch bread, but returned pale and shaking. "I thought I saw someone." by the trees, standing there, just standing. Are you sure? Emily whispered. No, because when I blinked, they were gone. That night, a knock came at the back door, slow, deliberate. When Oliver opened it, there was nothing but fog, and on the kitchen floor, wet footprints, leading halfway into the room before fading into nothing. Emily woke in the middle of the night to a scratching sound behind the headboard. She grabbed Oliver's hand. There's someone in the wall. He turned on the flashlight. The wallpaper was cracked and peeling. In the beam of light, they saw something moving beneath the surface, slow, pressing outward. Then the wall split with a dry sound, and a soft, whispering breath escaped. Emily screamed. Oliver shouted, "Get back!" And then a voice from behind the plaster. "Didn't I tell you not to come back?" Oliver slammed his fist against the wall, and for an instant, something pushed through. A pale hand, boneless, without nails. It retreated as quickly as it had appeared. By morning, Oliver was gone. Emily searched every room, every corner. The fog pressed against the windows like a living thing. When she finally tried to leave, she found the glass coated from inside, a white, dry mist frozen in place. She forced the door open and stepped into the yard. The air was colder than before. She could hear breathing, faint and steady, coming from all around her. When she turned back toward the house, she saw him, Oliver, standing behind the window, still and silent, his eyes pale and colorless. She screamed, ran toward the house, but as she got closer, his image faded, and in the reflection of the window, she saw herself, inside the house, staring out, and Oliver was gone. A month later, local authorities entered the house. The doors were locked from the inside. Everything was untouched, but in the bedroom wall they found two faint impressions, the shapes of hands, small and delicate, pressing outward through